Okay, we're on.
Okay. Yeah, I heard you, Chris, that basically you didn't want to let that form out, but basically we can't hold back on this, okay? and we don't need the form, okay? Like I was explaining to you before. You just need to notify that Secretary of State and basically anybody else out there that has a certificate on you that you are no longer for hire. It's by your will. And if you go into the dictionary and look up hiring at will, a hiring which can be terminated by either of the parties at any time, subject to such notice of intent to terminate as may be required by the contract of hire. Well, basically, the hiring contract was that you were supposed to be given your stuff when you turned 21. The hiring contract for the service was 7 years, 18 to 25. If you completed your military obligation in that time frame, you're done. The Social Security can only be a 7-year contract, and then the hiring is completed. They can only go in 7-year increments. This whole system is set up based upon the Bible. And the Bible was 7 years. And at this, you had to release the person at the 7th year. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes.
Ron, Bible thumpers,
Right.
Start thumping the Bible. Tell me, am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I'll say you're right, and I'm not a Bible thumper.
You don't have to tell me, Tom, okay? Let some of the other people speak for a change.
Okay.
Hey, you right about that, Patrick. And then you can either rehire with them or you can kill the contract.
Right. And basically, a man is owed his hire.
And I believe
his compensation. Hire, the noun for hire, is compensation for the usage of a thing or for labor or services. Now, they have used our stuff, so basically we are owed our hire. And this goes to hire law. The law of hire. I'm sure you've heard of that before, but basically everybody thought it was H-I-G-H.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's H-I-R-E. So you can basically fax this into the Secretary of State, fax it into the Department of the Transportation, and say that by your will, this hiring of the driver's license, of the certificate of title, of the marriage license, of the other item is terminated. Now, hire under verb, to employ a person to rent or engage the use of an article, receiving it as a bailor. They were the bailor, under obligation to return the article at the end of the term of the hiring. So when we terminate the hiring, they are now obligated to return that back to us. And then you have to have them basically be ordered to settle the books. So we're going to this International Court of Trade, which is a offshoot of the Department of the Treasury. That's where they started, under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. They were a collection agency for the customs or the tariff taxes coming into this country, into the Department of the Treasury. They were formed into a 9-man panel, and I put the document up on the site there. It's 4 pages talking about this United States Court of International Trade. It was 9 members that were located in the Treasury in 1890. In 1926, they, at that point in time, were rolled into a United States Custom Court, okay, to collect the customs. At that point in time, you had the Federal Reserve in place, and basically now you started getting a income tax, which was a custom tax on the usage of the Federal Reserve system. Then about 30 years later or so, in the 50s, they turned around and started adding additional responsibilities to this court until they got all the way up to 1980, and under the act and basically signed in by Jimmy Carter, they turned around and made this the United States Court of International Trade, an Article 3 court. Now, we send our initial paperwork in there, and we're coming in under Rule number 2 into this court. Rule number 2 is a special item in that basically we're going to, let me see, let me pull it up here, rules. It's going to, rule number 2, suspension of rules. On its own or a party's motion, a court may, to expedite its decision or for other good cause, suspend any provision of these rules in a particular case and order proceedings as it directs. So we're going to suspend all the rules. We're not going to be under their rules. Now it's going to be heads up, the truth, or heads or tails down, the not truth. And basically, the truth is going to stand. It's going to be a done deal. They can't rule any other way if you basically stand what has taken place. And you have to basically start learning to look at things a lot different out here. You're not going to go out there after revenge. Put that aside. You want revenge? They've got more guns than you do, and basically they'll take you out of the saddle. I can guarantee that. Now, this International Court of Trade, it can delegate this out to your local district court. Have the clerk of that International Court of Trade pass this over to the local district clerk, who now becomes an offshoot of the clerk of the International Trade Court. This local clerk is now working for the clerk of the International Trade Court, and then basically would be assigned to 1 or 3 judges, Article 3 judges, in that local district court for final adjudication. Why bring it back to the district court? Because basically most of your records and everything are located back in this area. That district court also has the U.S. Marshals working for it so that they can call up Arnold Schwarzenegger and bring him in so that he can erase you out of the system. And then they also, since this Court of International Trade is involved and they're tied in with the Treasury Department, the Secret Service would be brought in, or the Men in Black, to basically bring in and close down all of the other items that need to be. The Secret Service items, okay, because they handle the enterprise financial management system. But you can basically turn around and put a notice on your vehicle right now, not for hire. 3-inch black letters, front and back. Now, I'm sure that there's quite a few people out here that have seen movies to where they had a taxi cab in it. When the lights are on, the taxi cab is for hire. When the lights are off, basically the taxi cab is not for hire. You turned off the lights. You can do that with that identification card that I had, okay? But take the front and back and put it on one side and then print that out and then print on the back side of that, not for hire. So if a cop does stop you, then basically you give him that. Now, if they persist to be assholes, okay, and give you a ticket anyway, you go ahead and sign it, but you sign it under, what did I say the other day?
Threats, duress, and coercion?
Against my free will. You don't say anything about the codes or anything like that. You just say it's against my free will. That means they have forced raped you into that signing. Everything out here is done by will. Okay? Just like I read that deal about the hiring. Hiring at will. A hiring which can be terminated by either of the parties at any time. End of subject. When you will it to be terminated, you are going to stop hiring yourself out. You're no longer for hire. And see, you can drive down the road. That's covered by the Articles of Confederation. You have right of egress and ingress in the states. Now, all these state of Iowa and the United States, they're just additional dummy states. They don't have, and they have to abide by the original Constitution because that was their foundational document that they originally came from. And see, we're coming into court in all cases from now on with the United States of America. because the United States of America is the lawful holder of the spirit of America. You are a legal and equitable owner. And basically, the spirit of America belongs to God. And like I told you before, G-O-D stands for grounds of dominion. So, the spirit belongs to the G-O-D, God, the grounds of dominion, our nation, America. And they cannot rebuke that. But I'm trying to tell you, you can basically start getting this stuff out, and then you get the 1099 OIDs and the 1099Cs. You can basically start terminating. Go in and look for pay, okay, in the dictionaries, okay? You have not received your pay out here in all this stuff. Your pay for hire. I told the Attorney General's office this about 3 to 4 years ago. I said, I will be glad to pay any taxes that are due, but I'm got to get paid first. Until you pay me what you owe me, I ain't paying you shit. And see, all of these outfits out here are private agencies. They're private corporations. That court is a private court. Why? Because it has all bar members in it. BAR, Bank Authorized Representatives, and they're all members of this private membership club or organization, or the real word is gang. Therefore, they are all gangsters. Al Capone would have been happy as hell if he would have known all this shit. But he was a gangster that was in confrontation with the government. Gangsters. And basically the government gangsters took him out. All of these government officials, they are residents. They have to give up their inhabitant and become a resident. But when everybody turns 25 years of age, we are all a representative. The question is, who are we representing? When we turn 25 as an inhabitant, we are representing the spirit of America, the nation. Now, there's a house out there, but it can only hold 400 and some odd nitwits. So those nitwits that want to go sit in that house, basically, they all have to become residents. And then you have the movies out here that are basically called Resident Evil. The evils of government. The resident evils. I don't know how many there is, but I know there's several of them in the makeup of that Resident Evils series. But they're all dummies, okay? They're corporate dummies. And a dummy cannot be hurt. It's got to have a spokesperson behind it. And when you go to court, what do they want you to do? Plead? They want you to enter a plea. And they give you one or two options. But you've got a third option. They give you not guilty or guilty. Your third option is not for hire. Pretty damn simple. You're a private court, and I'm not going to hire out to you. I don't like your system of operation. They try and charge you with contempt of court in this private court. What are they trying to do? They're trying to give you another hiring contract. I purged myself of that one. Said, and I'll purge myself of that every day. I'm not for hire. Therefore, you can't charge me with any of this. But you get this understanding, and then you start filing your stuff into, and as soon as you get an initial item into that Federal Court of Trade, you can basically play off of that court case for any other item out there. You lost your house. Read that document that I put up there. You can get made whole by this court. Now we have the power to basically have the CID and everybody else go after these guys. But you have to get out of their hiring records first. You have to exit their hiring hall. And this was all laid out in the Bible. And Jesus had the one to where he hired the guy, the parable to where the guys got hired in the morning, got hired at 10, got hired at 11, got hired at 1, got hired at 2. And they all got basically what was coming to them, what was agreed upon. So basically, whether you're 65 years old, whether you're 35 years old, whether you're 25 years old, or even if you're down at 18, you can basically, your hire day is up when you say, I'm terminating my hiring. Okay.
So 18 can say that. We don't need to wait to 21.
No, you better wait till 21.
Okay.
But basically, a parent, a guardian, can come in and basically take it away from them and say that my child is not for hire any longer. Okay? See where I'm coming from? You got to think outside the box. Okay?
Okay. Got it. Okay. So you've laid out a basic comprehensive battle plan here.
Yeah. And basically, what we were talking about before last week about the 1099 OIDs. Basically, you have not gotten paid. You can turn around and put those OIDs in, especially if you paid out of your back pocket. You have a right to claim that back because that was pay that was supposed to be coming to you, and they're withholding it from you. You guys have to start standing up, okay? Stop being chicken shits and sitting on the fence. Tell these other guys to go out there. I mean, basically, some people believe that it might be on the W-4 form or something like that. Well, that's a possibility. I haven't gotten into looking at all that because that's a hiring form. But basically, if you paid out of your back pocket, they have been utilizing your assets out here, the driver's license, the certificate of title to your vehicle. You paid for those items out of your back pocket. But they were using it as collateral. You had hired out that vehicle for their usage in bonds. Now they owe the bill, and they owe you the hiring payment. The house, the property taxes. You have a certificate of title on that. Okay? But with that certificate of title, you hired out that house as collateral to them. They were supposed to be paying the insurance policy to protect the house, not you. So you can put a claim in for all the insurance that you paid out of your back pocket, all the property taxes that you paid out of your back pocket. They have withheld that from you. You put it into that state treasurer, or you put it down against them that they did not pay your person that was employed by them. Now you claim that the way I have the OID out there. Now that frees that up with the Treasury. Now you, with your 98 series number, as the living individual, you come in and you send your dummy in as the original grantor or lender to your fictional person on the 1099-A and order that abandoned property to be restored to you. Okay. Go ahead and you guys comment. I'm going to take a break here.
Okay.
I'll listen.
Okay. So what do you guys think about that? Do you want to go over it?
Can somebody post the not for hire up on the group again? Because Patrick's computer's not on or something. It's not connected.
No, no. I posted it up earlier.
On the group?
Yes, about around 10 o'clock this morning.
He wants it posted on the Skype.
Oh,
group,
you want it on the Skype group?
I don't see it on either one. I only see it connected to Patrick's, but I think its computer's off.
No, okay. It's put on the Yahoo.
All right, I'll look for it there then. Thanks.
Okay, but I can, if you want, I can go to the Skype group.
I'll go to the Yahoo group and get it. Don't bother yourself.
Okay.
Okay. We lost the call, and it was real difficult to call in by phone. It was impossible almost 4 times, and then there was no audio in the Skype group until I reloaded Skype. But anyhow, that was Gita's recommendation, and it worked.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, the trouble with that was when I called in, even though I was told there were 4 people on, we weren't really connected to the Skype group. And it wasn't until Pat Dowling called me and I put you guys on hold where they said they couldn't hear us. So I had to cancel our call and call back in again.
Yeah, we'll just see what works, but sometimes turning Skype off and then back on again, that's what worked for me.
Okay, yes, that's one of those problems, yes.
Yeah.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I've refiled my papers and my OID and my 1099-A for the bank papers, and so far they really haven't listened to them. They've kind of walked right over me. This one I sent to their legal department, and we'll see what happens. You know, the IRS with the taxes, they're still, I've got to refile those again. And
so you're paying off a mortgage, and you're trying to get rid of IRS taxes?
Yeah, with the mortgage, you know, it's still that foreclosure thing, and they want me to do the home mod, which I won't do. But
oh, right.
You know, it's still all that nonsense. But I 1099 them, and then
now you're coming in as a in care of person underneath the USA Treasury, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the way I posted those things up last week in that zip file.
Right.
Okay, because that's what you have to do, is you have to come in there and then see when you're coming in under the protection of the Treasury is now the obligated one to, they can't, the IRS and everything, they can't come after you for frivolous filings any longer, okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how I'm going to redo the taxes. I got a letter this weekend from the IRS where now they're still pursuing. They want us to start payments. They haven't.
Yeah, and you come in and you tell them that basically this is harassment, and you're going to be turning this over to to the United States Court of International Trade for the Treasury Department to look into this fraudulent racketeering operation that's going on. Stand up to these guys. I mean, basically,
yeah.
I had subpoenas to show up, to go up and to the IRS several years ago. And basically I said, hell, I'm not coming up there to see you guys. I've got stuff in the mill with the IRS at different places right now, and I ain't coming up to see you guys. You guys want to see me? Come down and see me.
I mean, they've already milked like $77,000 from us, and they want $22,000 more, and it's like,
tell them
no.
to pack sand, okay?
Yeah.
Tell them that is fraud, and basically that's an extortion.
Mm-hmm.
Read
it
that.
Is.
Read that document of self-regarding evidence, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The gangsters, and see, they're a private organization, and we can come in after these guys in this Court of International Trade. That's where we've been messing up. That's the court we should have been going to.
Are there filing fees with this court? I think I read there was like $400 in filing fees, or.
Okay, let's look at it this way.
Okay.
You come in, and basically you have the United States of America as a co-plaintiff, and basically as the lawful plaintiff, and you're coming in as the legal plaintiff in the action. Is that clerk of the court going to go out and put a $400 bill against the United States of America when they're supposed to be working for the United States of America anyway?
They better not.
No. So basically, you just write up in your cover letter that basically you can go out and dig up some dirt out there from the United States of America and pay the bill.
Okay.
Take it out of the tariff taxes that are owed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you basically want to charge, and see, if they're going to charge $400 and some to the United States of America, that is a treason.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't going to do it.
Did they get levy or anything like that on you, Pat? Or anything like that?
No. Basically, I don't have anything taken levy anyway.
Well, I mean,
I don't have any court deals, and basically I got two payments about 2 years ago for from the IRS, or not from the IRS, from the Social Security, and then I terminated my Social Security, but they never went after that. Okay? I've been out here trying to get out of the system entirely. I wanted to shut this whole thing down, and I didn't want to be involved with the Social Security because I knew that they were out there writing bonds. And I thought that I could have gotten this done a lot faster than this, but basically I didn't have all the pieces to the puzzle at that point in time. Now I do.
So you mean you're not taking any Social Security benefits? Is that what you mean, or just?
That's right. I'm going to get my whole damn deal. Okay? You paid in. Okay? Your employer paid in so much for both Medicare and Social Security. You turn around and do a 1099 OID for that full amount. They are withholding it from you, right? That's your pay. You have a right to claim your pay at any point in time, and you have a right to terminate being a hireling for the Social Security system. Say, I am not going to allow you to, I am not hiring out my assets and my body to you any longer.
Yeah, it's almost like you can just say you quit. You know, give me my severance pay. Give me my.
Yes, but you have to use the right terms.
Right.
The term is hire, and basically also will. It is my will to terminate this hiring.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's where we've been messing up. We've been using all these other words out here, and then people out here have been using a allodial title. Wait a minute. Here in this country, there's only two titles they recognize. Lawful and legal. And you are really the living or the legal title holder. They are a fraudulent dummy. They can't hold the title. You're holding it. But you hired out to them under a hiring contract. So they're not holding the title. You are. And then the United States of America holds the lawful title because of the spirit of America. And the spirit goes back into the grounds of dominion.
Now, do we have to take them into the International Court of Trade to get it?
You're going to take your fictional person in, and basically you're going to list these other dummies down here, and basically it's going to be a slam dunk deal because a dummy can't represent himself, and basically they're not going to be allowed into there. The only people that can come into that court are people that are basically standing as a lawful representative. They can't come in with a bar card in their back pocket in this court because we're getting rid of all their rules. Now it's under right and wrong. And in a right and wrong scenario, it has to be a living individual on the side, both sides of the fence.
So who would they use on their side if they can't use a bar attorney?
We're using our dummy. We're representing him. Patrick Devine, the guy that's on the certificate of live birth, is an authorized representative for the Dummy Corporation, United States, okay, USA. He's also an authorized representative for the Church of Rome and for the BAR, Temple Bank of England, the dummy corporations. He's he's the representative. He's my dummy representative in their dummy stage. See, it's like a puppet show, okay? Pinocchio. think back on that one. And basically, there's been several other movies out there about the puppeteers. There's been several of them out there about the devil and like Daniel Webster type scenarios.
Does that include Obama?
Obama is a dummy, okay? It doesn't make who in the hell, whether he was born in this country or some other country, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference because he's just a corporate dummy. And he's a traitor to the we the people. He's trying to appear to be holding a constitutional office, and then you have all the Secret Service and everything else out there that are protecting the shithead when he's an outright traitor because he's getting a share of stock in the profit company that is overseeing this. That's what a dummy director gets, is a share of stock. So all these guys that are, while they're in the presidency, for everything they screw up, they're getting paid to screw it up. That president was supposed to be an executive officer, and he was supposed to set off the debt every year. That's in the Constitution. So why is there a damn debt? It's all phony. And then these guys that are holding these governmental offices are traitors to we the people and to the United States of America. And you, as an inhabitant representative, can lay the charge against them for treason. But the best thing to do is get out of their system, and then basically you can utilize your assets for the betterment of mankind in this country. And avoid all the nitwits that want to stay as slaves to them. You can support the ones that are really trying to do something right, but in stealth. Okay, go ahead and talk for a while.
So does the not for hire, what is that, just in addition to everything? Is that replacing anything that we've gotten in the past I don't know, couple of weeks, I guess? Or is this just a new something else that we're adding to that?
It seems like it's a concept that Patrick worked on before, in addition to what we currently have in front of us in his latest folder, the American Confederation Bank.
No, it's older than the hills. It was out here in this country before this country was formed, okay? Look at the flag. Do not tread on me. Okay? Don't tread on me. That means I am not for hire. But see, that was written 200 years ago, and basically it was in a different understanding of the English language at that point in time. And then the English came in and polluted the understanding of what the hell English really is and a lot of the words. That's why you have to look up half of these words and then try and decipher them for what they really mean. You guys have to start thinking outside the box.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
I found a section here that would benefit everybody if they really wanted to know the details of what it is that you're trying to describe. The Court of International Trade shall have exclusive jurisdiction of any action commenced to be reviewed, any final determination of the Secretary of Treasury under Section 305B1 of the Trade Agreement Act of 1971 shall have exclusive jurisdiction over any civil matter involving any application or order directing the administration, authority, or international trade commissioner, and it goes on and on and on. It goes into the exact details of every form, even under the. I know that Steve had mentioned earlier the Housing Act. It goes under the Department of Labor, Department of Commerce, the Agricultural Department. It goes under every one of them for civil violations. So I'm going to post that just for your information. It's 28 U.S.C. 1581.
Yeah, they're violating their own laws, okay? But we have to go in and we have to put our claim of not paying us the hire and basically withholding the items from us. And then when we put that into this International Court of Trade, and see, this it what in that 4-page document, one of the last things on there being stated was that this court has the power to make you whole. So basically, if they took your house and everything, you are now no longer whole. They took something from you, so you have a gaping hole in your side of your head. So now they have to fill that void and give you the house back and plug up that hole.
Didn't you say something earlier about the Tariff Act as related to this scenario that they've laid out on the American people and homeowners?
Yeah. And see, that was the Tariff Act of 1913, which came about on October 13th of 1913, after they had basically, or they set it up prior to the setting up of the Federal Reserve System. They had to have a means to tax the product of the Federal Reserve Bank, the usury system.
Yeah.
To basically keep things in balance. And that's what this tariff tax bill was all about, and it brought about the income tax at that point in time for the usury taxes to try and set off. Therefore, if that would have been utilized properly, there would be no inflation.
Well, here's the exact quote. This is under I. In addition to the jurisdictions confirmed by the Court of International Trade by subsection A-H of this section and subject to the exception set forth by subsection J of this section, the Court of International Trade shall have exclusive jurisdiction of any civil action commenced against the United States, its agencies, its officers, that arises out of any law of the United States providing for revenue of import or tonnage, tariffs due, fees and taxes on importations of merchandise for reasons of other than raising revenue, embargoes or other quantitative restrictions and important merchandise for reasons other than the protection of the public health or safety. I mean, right there, it gives you all the answers in the right there for what affects the public health and safety is when you get your property robbed, and you're getting robbed for some form of a for raising revenue, but it's not making any kind of a presentation to you in your life as to being compensated for it.
So if you're taking money out of your 401k plan early and getting taxed on it, I mean, it's your money and you're getting taxed on it. It's still robbery, isn't it?
Yeah, but basically I'd take the whole damn 401k program and basically
throw
shut
it out
down.
the window.
Yeah, and then basically write a no ID for what they withhold from you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can reclaim that all back. They're withholding, they're taxing, and we're withholding that tax from you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your property.
Right.
okay? And you are America, okay? And all items have to go back to the source, or basically we abandon them, and they end up going over to England or to Rome or to the Caribbean for somebody's vacation.
Well, they want to get paid for using it.
Right.
Yeah, you want to give it to them? You give it to them. I ain't giving it to them.
No, I want it back.
Okay. You've got to claim it back, and if you don't put your claim in, basically you're not going to get it.
Pat?
Yeah.
Question. The Tariff Acts, I'm wondering if they're taking the homes through the, because you didn't pay your excise tax on your land originally, so they're putting a lien against that and taking your property
with
liens?
No, that's not it whatsoever, okay?
It's not? Okay.
It's not, okay?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're doing a foreclosure on you. And basically when you go in and look at foreclosure, they have weasel-worded a lot of this stuff in under some of this English bullshit trust shit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They tried to put all this trust law into place, and there is no trust in this country.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to tell people that before. They try and utilize it. It was the Federal Reserve Bank that wanted that. Oh, yeah, we're going to trust in God. Yeah, bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to stab God in the back is what we're going to do, is what that really should say on there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I looked in our state statutes that said that basically what the code said through the IRS, the advisory AIQ office, it said that after the attorneys divested you of your property, then they took their senior lien of their IRS and then took your property back through their senior lien. And their junior lien took a junior lien back. They were a senior lien when they were trying to foreclose on you. Then the IRS come and took your property through a senior lien, and that's what the AIQ office, under the statute here in the state of Michigan said.
Yeah, and basically all of those are private corporations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
All of those were put in by private statutes.
Mm-hmm.
Look up private act in the dictionary, and it will refer you to statutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are private laws, and a private law only affects the one that is being written for, the corporation or the municipality or whatever, but it does not affect the general public.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those codes and everything really are not applicable to the general public. They're written for the private corporations.
Okay.
Okay? So you've got to stop using them, okay? They're not your codes. They're not your laws. You stick with the Constitution and the Articles of Confederation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Article 4, Section 1 of the Articles of Confederation, right in there, it basically declared that we were to be a free man, okay, and that we were supposed to be able to travel in and out of each and every state unmolested.
Right.
So basically, they are acting as a private gangster outfit, either the Bloods, Crips, or Al Capone, whatever, or the residential gang, okay, and that's what they really are, is the residential gang out here, and then they're using all these enforcement guys as their hitmen.
Right.
You have to stand up to them and say, no, enough is enough. How many movies out there were like that? To where when the people stood up to these gangs, basically the gangs went away.
Right.
Yeah, there might have been some people that got killed in the process, but basically the neighborhood was protected then by the people because the people finally stood up.
That is true.
Yeah.
So that'd be the same thing as for real estate taxes or whatever. Same thing. They're taking your property because you didn't pay your real estate taxes.
Yeah, and basically is all you have to do is turn around and you put that OID in there against them.
Mm-hmm.
So you fill out the OID the way I told you to as you're
Mm-hmm.
coming in underneath the dummy U.S. corporation, because your fictional dummy
Mm-hmm.
is either a citizen or an employee of their system right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ignore it, then you take them into the...
They will not ignore it. You will get this to the IRS. Now when you fill out your 3949A into
Mm-hmm.
the IRS,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to the CIT, now
Right.
they will take notice.
Okay.
But see, we were trying to come in as an individual.
All right.
Yeah. You've got to think positive about this, okay? I get so tired of people with so much negative bullshit out here. Oh, well, they won't do that. They won't do this. They won't do that. The weather's coming. We're having the worst winter ever on record. I mean, come on, people. I remember growing up as a kid and basically having to dig a damn path out to the damn barn to milk the cows. We kept the cows in the barn because there's 4 foot of snow out there. This year was probably one of the mildest winters I've ever known for where I'm at right now. Yeah, we set it all around us. So I'm sorry for some of you other people, but basically I've been in some of those other places, and I know up there in Buffalo, New York, I was up in Saratoga one time, and we got about 3 foot of snow. Well, Buffalo got something like 160 inches that weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, come on, people. These records, they ain't new records. Okay? Stuff like this has been going on for a long time. Droughts and everything else. But yet we are getting into a scenario to where there's going to be major catastrophes, but what we've seen so far ain't major one bit.
No, we're hardy people. We can get through them. And
yeah,
if we can't, we're
we
just going to
become
come...
our own worst enemies in most of this damn stuff. I mean, all those people that die on the road. Why in the hell were they out on the road? You were warned far enough in advance in most cases. Get the hell off the road.
Yeah, Gerald Salene called it a nanny state. They all telling everybody to bundle up and everything.
Yeah. You need a nice warm bed, go down to the local whorehouse and sleep there for the night. Come on, people.
I'll go for that. You got $20? $20.
Whatever. A little humor does help now and then, doesn't it? Okay, it lightens up the subject. Okay.
Oh God.
That's how Winnemucca, Nevada, got established.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions on basically trying to get out of this? And you can fax these in and then follow it up with a letter. But when you give a fax, that is a notification. That is electronic notification, and they passed that law in the late 1990s there that basically an electronic faxing has to be accepted.
Thank you, Bill Clinton.
They had to give us some remedies out here, okay? But the people didn't know how to use the remedies. Jimmy Carter basically brought in the 1980 court act for this International Court of Trade, and put several things into place there. But people never understood it, and then basically a lot of people out here were listening to the wrong gurus because they didn't understand it, but they thought they knew what the hell was going on. And they basically kept on one path and never said, well, we got to this point, and basically it's a dead end. We need to find another trail to go down. And see, that's what I've been trying to do, is find the right trail, the right path. And the man Jesus basically came out and said, I've come to show you the way and the path. He didn't come to redeem anybody's ass. He came to show you the way and the path.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Let me read this one section that you noted in the International Court document. All decisions of the Court of International Trade shall be preserved and open to inspection. The court shall forward copies of each decision to the Secretary of Treasury or his designee and to the appropriate customs officer for the district to which the case arose. The Secretary shall publish each weekly the decisions as he or the court may designate an abstract of all decisions. Right there, if we can get one published decision in our favor, it will reflect for everybody else to use it as a referral wherever they go.
Chris, these are all in the private.
Okay, but this is the international trade.
Yes, but when you go in and you remove, okay, all the rules and regulation, and you're coming in from the private side, okay, this court is now going to be a private ruling, and it will be a tribunal ruling. Okay?
Well, that's cool. And I'm okay with that. It's just that I'm reading off what you put in this document.
Yeah. And basically, yeah, it's all that highlight that I had there. And see, basically in, let me see, it says here, the provisions make it clear to those who suffer injury in this area that they may seek redress in a court. And if they are successful, the Court of International Trade will be available to afford them relief which is appropriate and necessary to make them whole.
Where's that located on this document?
It's on page 2 in red, about the third paragraph from the bottom.
Oh, okay, got it. All right.
That's what I was telling you before. It says right in there that this court will make you whole. And see, they're working with the Treasury.
Yeah, I did read that right out of the codes. Yeah, I read that earlier. I didn't. I didn't realize that you had put it in this document.
Well, I didn't put it in there. See, this document came from the International Court of Trade. I just highlighted what they had already here.
Oh, okay, that's what I read off of their site earlier today. All right. Yeah.
And see, this court has the residual grant of exclusive jurisdiction to decide any civil action. Residual grant. That means that they are dealing between the living and the dead.
Yeah.
A res-I dual grant.
Yeah.
And then see, some of these words basically didn't come about until in the 1920s. Just like, what the hell is that other word? The dummy being put into Black's Dictionary in the 4th edition. And then see, basically It addresses counterclaims, cross-claims, and third-party actions relating to actions pending in the court. But basically, when we come in and we're representing, we're having our dummy represent the dummy side, and we as the living are representing the living side, who's going to be able to come in there? Nobody. We've already gone into the court of claims and threw the damn district attorneys out of the court before. You can ask a couple guys if we didn't do that. So we were standing there, but we were in the wrong court when we did it. We were supposed to be in this court of international trade instead of the court of claims. And there is a department in the Justice Department that basically will interface with this International Court of Trade to bring about justice. In other words, they will go out and go after these other outfits when we have ordered our termination of hire. And if these other outfits have not terminated that for hiring contract and are continue to utilize it, they will be prosecuted at that point in time. See, we don't have to do all of the dirty work. We've got employees or servants to handle this.
So we
Public
just have
service.
to start the process?
Yes, you just have to get off your duff. That's it. We just have to go out there and start sending faxes out in the morning to the Secretary of State saying, hey, my driver's license, basically my voter registration card, my marriage certificate, those certificates of hire are hereby terminated because I am and my assets are no longer for hire.
Okay.
Basically, you owe me back pay. Now, as you are the bailer, and basically that's what that one item reads, okay, and the self-regarding evidence there is that the bailer has to make the payment. The bailer under obligation to return the article at the end of the term of hiring. So when you terminate the hiring, you've ended the term. Now the bailee, who is holding that asset, has to return it to you. And see, that's where you would come in, and basically if they're holding anything under the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, the CF, whatever the hell that is.
CFR.
Now, basically all those funds, and basically if you have an entitlement coming out of that, they have to make that payment over to you. Now, if they don't, then basically when you bring in the Secret Service, they will find that out. Also the CID. And they will all be involved in bringing you out of the system. There's not going to be that much work because it's all on computers. So basically one person like Arnold could do it all himself.
I'll be back.
Arnold's the man of the hour. Mr. Eraser.
Yep, race us all.
I'll be back.
Yep. Because going to impersonate him, you need to say a couple more lines than that. People just can't hear the impersonation coming through too well.
And have a thicker accent.
Ow.
Okay, any other questions there?
We've got to read over your documents pretty thoroughly here.
No, basically you just need to listen to this and just go do it. Okay?
Right. And I
should have looked over the documents by now. Okay?
Well, each time you go through it, you bring new things to light. And
but basically you can sit there and keep reading them over and over and over and basically never do nothing. Okay?
Right. We got to go through your call again. And
well, if you don't have enough information right now to basically go out and write a damn order to the Secretary of Treasury or to the Secretary of State, to the Attorney General, to the Department of Transportation, and say, hey, I am terminating all hiring contracts with you.
Yep, that's pretty
It
clear.
is my will. It is my will. And see, that is a hiring at will. You can put that reference, that definition right out of, I forget which dictionary it was. I think it was out of Ballantyne's that I got that hiring at will. And put the definition right there and say, I'm coming in under my right to terminate this hiring. You haven't paid me yet, so I am terminating any further hiring of my assets, my property, and you are the legal owner. They cannot own anything, okay? A dummy cannot own anything. I wish people out here in Canada and these other people would get off of that, thinking that a dummy can own anything. They can only confuse the issue. They can only give you a good story, and that's all they're doing. Watch the movie Beelzebub, okay? Basically, the devil in that one tries and said basically all we're doing is trying to give you a good story to keep you off guard.
That's not me typing, it's somebody else. Usually it is me, but I would mute.
Yeah, he's just been picking up the phone saying hello all night.
Yeah, I wasn't muted that time.
Yeah, so you guys could take some of those fax items that I put up there and modify them and basically send them out. Just make a simple statement. I am no longer, and my property is no longer for hire. Here's the contracts that basically are being terminated under my right or my will to terminate this hiring.
Short and simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. KISS.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Is it I was thinking I might put in one of those sheets in my packet that I'm sending out, my 1099As. Do you think it's...
Well, no, you don't need to send that there, okay? You're going out there for a specific purpose with the 1099A, okay? Now, you can do your affidavit. You're going to have to modify the affidavit that we had up there before and put in there that you're basically terminating along with the revoking of all undersignings and what the hell is the other? Oh, the purging yourself of all pledges. You're also ordering by your will the no hire, that you are no longer hiring out any of your assets to these private corporations.
Do you call them dummy corporations?
You can call them whenever you want to.
Call them shitheads. What was I going to say? Do you think it's a good idea to send package
just trying to keep it a little clean.
Well, your teaching isn't that clean sometimes.
Oh, this is as clean. You don't want to hear me really get going. This is clean.
Yes.
What is this? What
I'm the Ajax man, Mr. Clean here. I could get the other way pretty damn fast, and you could ask a couple guys out there, especially down South Carolina, if I can't do that.
I still want to know what DC really means for you.
DC?
Yes.
Dummy Collection Agency.
Oh, okay. I thought it was worse than that. Is it a good idea to put you were saying something, to put all of this, a copy of it, and send it to the Treasury?
Well, we're going to the Treasury by way of this International Court of Trade.
Okay.
Yeah. See, they're a branch of the Treasury Department. Everything operates around assets. Okay? And this court is the one that has the lead control over all assets in the country. Because every asset is being traded in some form or manner. And then, see, we will end up basically moving our stuff out of D.C. and putting it into the Philadelphia Reserve. Under our 98 series number.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, now, some people basically said they're still having problems trying to get their estate EIN, and then trying to get a 98 series number. Go and get the 98 series number, and then get the estate EIN. And you can do what I did. Call up the IRS wherever they send you a bill and chew their ass out. Say, basically, this is a tombstone name, and basically, this guy's dead. Let them go and get the number for you. That was how I did it for the estate one. And then I used the wrong number for the 3520 and 3520A form out to Ogden, Utah, and they went and got me the right number. So we've been close on all this stuff this whole damn time. But there's been a lot of deceivers out here trying to keep us off target and throwing all this other stuff into the picture that we had to go and try and track down and verify that it was not valid. And we've done that in almost every regard, that anything that these other guys are really talking about, they have no consistency whatsoever. If they did have consistency, you would hear people flocking to them right and left. And nobody is really doing that. So I wish people would stop bringing their garbage into this site until they have something that basically is fully understood. I started using the terms about this puppeteering, and now all of a sudden this nitwit, the insider out there, is starting to talk about the puppeteers, putting it up on YouTube or whatever. Karen, whatever her name is. Oh yeah, she's
Karen
such a
Karen Hudes is doing that? Wow.
And I don't listen to any of these other things out here. Really. I just can't stomach listening to half of them. I have a hard time listening to myself at times. So basically, when I get done talking, I'm done talking. It's up to you guys now whether you want to listen or not, okay? So, any other questions, go ahead and start asking them and basically try and see if you can figure them out yourself. But I'll sit back here and listen.
Well, I have a question, because in my situation, I have a couple of lots that were taken by property for property tax purposes, and the question really is, can I go back and remove the titles for hire when the state is saying that it's now in the hands of somebody else? And I suspect yes, that we could do that and let them sort it out.
Well, you can go back and claim the taxes that were withheld from you to make the settlement, okay?
Okay.
If you paid them out of your back pocket or somebody else picked those up and paid for them, then basically that lien for those taxes should be set off.
And I should leave it at that.
Now, if somebody came in and paid like $1 for those taxes, and the county took that $1, and basically that guy turned around and is working over as an attorney in their damn system, basically you have an outright claim of fraud that you can go in and put in against that person. How did he get that? They took that from you.
Okay. So I go after fraud after the bank who took it, and go after the state for the taxes that I paid in. Okay, got it.
Yeah, basically, and you can go after with the OID against the bank for not giving you the payment for paying for the property, and then basically with your hiring contract, the state was supposed to be paying the bill.
Yes.
They never paid you your pay, your hire. They hired your property, and they never paid the hire.
And can I make a counterclaim on the bank for taking for the value of the property?
You'll have to figure that one out yourself. You're going to have to figure out whether you need to go after the county treasury or the state treasury or the court or basically after the bank.
Okay.
You have to try and figure that out, or basically you just sort of let that slide and you put that into your claim into this International Court of Trade, and you have them investigate it.
That sounds like the better route. Or we could use your theory of let's not do revenge, let's go get our real accounts from that and not worry about those details.
Well, but basically when you do this, and you would put that in, that basically you want to be made whole, and basically here's something that you need to check out.
Made whole.
To make me whole.
Good. Yep, okay, made whole. I'll write that on my eyeballs.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I'm done for tonight. Go ahead and turn it off.
Thank you,
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Patrick.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay, you guys take care. Talk to you later.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You too.
As Gita would say, 1099 and out.
That was funny.
I loved it.
I'm so burnt out on all those forms. I think I need a vacation from it. And
I know.
the whole ream of paper just on